Yes, sir. Night Rider 707, aka Jay, back with another one. Real quick, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody that be tuning into all these videos that I'm doing. I really appreciate it. This video is another on the fly segment, but it's a real conversation with someone who went through some real things. But Sunday, tune in for the Slush story, man. That is a story that needed to be told for sure. It's gonna go on the DC Originals playlist, and yeah, man, we just gonna keep going with it.
Yeah, my name DERRICK PRILLMAN. I was born in Washington, D.C. My mother's name was Ruth Ann Harrington. I don't know because she died when I was 4, so I don't know something. I just know she passed away. She was real sick. She died when I was 4 years old back in I believe it's May 17th, 1984. And my father, his name is Raymond Paul Perlman. My dad raised me and my younger brother Mark after my mama passed. Far as I know, growing up, my father used to worked for ambulance back in the day, driving the people to the hospital. As far as I know, when I checked going, he was a cab driver. He worked for Capital Cab and Yellow Cab. We were just me and my brother Mark, we were just really close to him, father, son, moments. And like I said, going to basketball games, football games, just having a great time, just enjoying life.
All right, we back again, man. We got disconnected. Okay, so you had a pretty much normal background. So walk us through that day or that moment you found your dad in his room murdered.
I'm gonna start as of September 5th, 1998 was the Saturday morning. I was 18. My younger brother Mark was 15. We lived on 341st Street, across the street from the I believe it's number 14 Boys and Girls Club in the 6th District Police Department, right there by the shrimp boat. It was my last year in school as a senior at Easton. My brother Mark was a freshman, ninth grade. It was like the first week in school. So that night before my dad's passing, he had brought home, like I said, he was a kid, he had brought home food, pizza, whatever, iced tea, whatever the case was. So I remember waking up that early Saturday morning, probably about maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So I go downstairs and my dad slept in the back room. Like I said, he's a cab driver, so his room is back towards the back door. So as I go from the living room into the kitchen and open up the door from the living room into the kitchen, just wanted to get some to drink. My throat was dry, iced tea. As I go in, I noticed the kitchen, I believe the kitchen light was on. I mean, the door was off. So as I open the refrigerator door to get some to drink, I look and see a foot. So when I go towards my father's bedroom, boom, I'm shocked, I'm crying because it was a pool of blood. So I didn't know what happened. I woke up and saw my father just dead in a pool of blood. So we didn't know what happened. So I started panicking. I started crying. I started shaking. I couldn't even barely breathe, just being traumatized. So my dad, the living room, the house phone goes from the living room to his bedroom. So he must have been on the phone because I had to go upstairs. When you try to go upstairs, call 911 because the phone. So I had to go downstairs to unplug the cord to go upstairs, make the 911 call. So before I woke my brother up. He wakes up and he's panicking. He go downstairs. He found my father just dead in the pool of blood. He started crying. We both started crying. We scared. We didn't know what happened, what the hell was going on. So the paramedics came over. They went to the room. They touched. They said he passed away, and he was just dead in the pool of blood. For the police, the homicide come in. So the police came over the house. They took me and my brother to the homicide building. We got to the homicide building. They told the police officer, I think detective, I remember, was a female named Detective Linda Fowler, and the black dude, Daryl Richmond, was some white guy named Kaufman. So they came to the homicide building. They told me, they had me and my brother Mark in separate rooms. They had told me that my dad was murdered, and they found the paring knife you cut potatoes with in my backyard. So they telling me, they had me down there all day, interrogating me, trying to do try to do a confession. I'm telling them I'm innocent of the crime. We go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They had my brother in they did the same thing to him. His story never changed. So just me, I'm be honest with you, bro, just being in that homicide building all day. You're scared. I was a baby. I ain't know the rights. Like I said, never been in trouble with the law before. So I made a confession on tape saying, even though I was innocent, I didn't do it just to go home. And like I said, they released me and my brother that time.
Right. And hold on. So they interrogated you for about 12 hours, right?
Exactly.
And I understand the tricks they used on you, you know, to get a confession. After so many hours, you just wanted to go home. You were exhausted. So my
Right.
question is, did it occur to you after they released you that they may come back for you?
I have to be honest with you, I haven't even thought about that, man.
Okay.
It was in my mind because, like I said, I didn't even know that was going to happen since they released me and stuff like that.
Exactly. I mean, this was all new.
Yeah, because I'm new. I'm thinking like they could have put me in jail for making I was like in my mind to a false confession I didn't do, and they never, did. And I guess and to the end of the month of September, I believe it was the 29th or 30th. They had, we was in school. They had told my oldest brother they wanted me to come down to the homicide by my dad's death, or whatever the case was, and they put me in this interrogation room. They had handcuffed me. They just took me and they locked me up. They took me to Central Cell booking, and after that, next night I went to court. I never got released. They just took me on DC jail.
Right. And tell me what that jail experience was like for you.
DC jail, man. Man, I had to stay strong. Sometimes it can be ups and downs. It can be rough, and I seen a lot of inmates fight. I think I had 2 inmates kind of like bucking me, but really wasn't nothing like serious. I had like no fighting problems or nothing in DC jail. I just stayed strong, maintained, read a couple of books. I had a couple of inmates knew I was young, like 18, 19. The baby was telling me, just don't tell them about your case. Stay strong, just keep fighting, fighting for your case. As I'm being in DC jail for that year, that time, I had to couple of correction officers and the inmates told us to go to the law library with your case because, like I told you, I had a first defender, black lawyer named Christopher Swaby, and I believe I had him as my attorney for 6 months. And each time he's tried to come visit me, he's taking a plea bargain plea, and I'm like, dude, I'm innocent of a crime I didn't commit. So I had to go to the law library, ask the guy to help me to remove him off my case, and what he said he was going to do was going to go to the judge and was going to call foul motion to suppress.
Mm-hmm.
So he was telling me that means if they don't have any evidence, the judge will just let me go. So we sent it to the judge, and he came to see me like a day 2 after that. I sent the letter to the judge, and I told him that I no longer, woman as my attorney, and he asked me why, because you unsatisfied me. You tell me bad news. You didn't tell me no good news. You were not defending my honor. So I told him that. We went to court maybe like the day after that. Judge Shuka said she got my letter, and she told me she had a right to have me locked up till I plead guilty and not guilty to a lesser crime, but she said I had a right for another attorney. So she removed him off my case and gave me Joseph Metcalf. And he's been wonderful to me ever since. So God said he said when he took in here about my case, he was going to the case, but he went into the case and worked on my case. He come to visit me in jail, sent me canteen. We was talking about going to trial a couple of times and stuff. And believe October 28th, is my 20th birthday, 99. I'm going to say a week prior, October 15th. So I remember it was a Friday, went to court. He was saying, look, don't go to trial. You wait till I get back, because they're going to probably give you 35 years. I have to go to Seattle for a wedding. So a week later, like I said, I believe it was October 28th, 99. It's my 20th birthday. The correctional officer told me at DC I had to go to court. So as I go to court, some white lady comes up to me and say the charge is being dropped. It was a prosecutor, so many prosecutors in my case, Miss Brenda Baldwin White.
Mm-hmm.
She comes to tell me it was something about your confession that wasn't right. I had to let you go. So he released me to my older brother. So maybe like a couple of days later, Joe had called me and said Miss White had called him and said that they released you because a woman confessed.
Right. So Catherine Shaw, she confessed. So did she confess during that time, or were they saying that it was a earlier?
Well, by the time, but Joe had told me, they said when they called him, released me, she had confessed about it.
Okay, right then. And you did 13 months, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's talk about Catherine Shaw. First, did you and your brother like her as a person?
Well, we met her because we moved to the house where he was murdered in 1996. And we met her that summer 96. She was a nice person, sweetheart. She dated my dad. And she was gone for like a year. So she came back his life Tuesday back in 1998. And in the summer 1998, like I said, we thought she was a sweet person. She come over, she dated my dad. We thought she was a sweet person. I can remember one time being in the DC jail. I was telling Joe, and I was telling Swavey this too. I know one day I came downstairs, heard my dad was talking, and she was crying, and I'm listening to the conversation, and she's telling my dad that somebody was threatening to kill her and stalk her. So that just kind of like shocked me, because after she left, I went to go talk to my dad about it. I was like, Dad, what's going on? I'm hearing her crying in the living room saying someone trying to stalk and kill her. And I said, Dad, you don't think that's coincidence if that person is following her, stalking might get to you? Because I'm worried about he's going to be fine. So I said, Dad, I'm just making sure he was good because I'm not going to worry because I don't like this because I'm hearing her saying someone is stalking her and following her. And she coming over here to our house and the person is threatening to kill her, stalking her. Could do something. I always said could probably do something to us. And I told my dad, I feel like you should call the police or go across the police station and file a report, just anything in case something goes wrong. He said, no, he was good. And I want to say that could have been a summer. It was something I want to say like the end of July, but beginning of August.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm not even sure if you know the answer to this, but I was getting ready to ask how and why did she murder your father?
That's a good. That was always my question. I don't know. I really can't. I'm not sure why. I don't had an argument. I believe, to be honest with you, I believe could have had an argument dispute. She came over that night because my next door neighbor had told me that night of the murder, because she couldn't go to my funeral because she knew me and my brother was good, young men and stuff. And my father, she said she walked the dog, so she saw him come over that night. To visit my dad that night, walking dogs kind of late at night, probably 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night.
Right.
So I don't know. I guess they might have had an argument. I'll be honest with you, I believe if she probably came into the room, talked to my dad, they might have had an argument dispute. And what the police had told me at the homicide, but they found the knife and the paring knife in my backyard where the knife was at. So she could have had an altercation, grabbed a knife, stabbed my father to death, and took the knife in the backyard.
Okay.
Like me and my brother,
Right. So I'm wondering what would make her come out and just confess. Like, did she feel guilty that you were locked up, or what?
It could have been. I know a couple times Swaybe said when they had talked to her, and they had because she didn't want to talk, and she finally wanted Joe said she wanted to finally talk. She told me Swaybe had told me the time she couldn't do anything like this, but then finishing up the book back in April, Joe was saying he just found out 3 months prior, the day of my father's murder, she had called and said she killed my father. It was a dispatch call. No one dispatch call saying she murdered my father.